Hi, hello, all of my messy friends out there. I am so glad to see you today. This video almost didn't happen. I woke up this morning so unwell, but I took a little bit of medicine and I already feel like I'm starting to get over the hump of that cold that seems to be spreading around. Everyone seems to be catching it, so I apologize. Forgive me if I have a nasally voice or if if I sound more annoying than usual, but you guys all know it, you get colds too. Anyways, the reason we are here together today is to celebrate the March birthdays from my plant collection. So these are the plants that have come into my collection during the months of March in the past. And today we are going to hang out. We have a little bit of repotting to do. We have a kind of small collection today. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5, 6 plants. One of them was actually a rescue plant, but I usually have more than this on a typical birthday. But March is the time of year where I need to spend my plant budget more toward things like soils and amendments, pots, because it is the start of spring, it is the start of repotting season, and in addition to that, it is also the start of outdoor garden season. So some of my budget goes toward outdoor gardening rather than just indoor plants. But also March is my birthday month. So it is a time where I'm usually gifted a gift card, or this year my husband gifted me a wish list plant. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But anyways, without any further ado, let's get into it. Make a wish. What did you wish for? Good health and good growth this season. So the first plants that I want to talk about are the plants that are not going to really need a lot of attention or care today. So firstly, I bought this for myself this month. It is the Alocasia Micholitziana, the Frydek, the green version. It is just a little baby starter. There are 2 corms, like 2 plants inside of there. But when I received it, I also saw 2 small corms that may or may not develop. So that's kind of exciting. This was a plant that I purchased from Etsy, and these are sensitive alocasia. So the shipping process didn't go perfectly well. Each of these was a 2-leaf starter plant, but it lost the older leaf. It's funny because I had never seen Micholitziana in town locally, and I wanted it for so long, so I was like, it's your birthday, girl, treat yourself. So I spent $26 on it was $13 a piece to get two small starter plants. So $26 to buy this, which is kind of disappointing because literally the next day I went into the garden center to buy some more perlite, and I saw some of these. They were about $30 for a plant that looked like this. So I didn't necessarily get a bad deal, but I could have probably chosen and select, which plant I liked the best. Anyways, I'm happy with it. It's a plant, so it will grow. But she doesn't need any care. We can appreciate her beauty though. These, the green, like the dark, bright green leaves with the white veins are so cheerful and happy. They really scream March vibes to me. Like it's a green spring time of year, and this plant is so freaking cute. What a cutie. Even this old leaf is cute. So she doesn't need any care, just a little bit of glory. Next, we have this larger plant. This one is a Dracaena Marginata, and I actually adopted this plant from my daughter. This is her plant. I'm only caring for it until she grows up and has her own apartment, and then I'll give it right back to her. But she cared for it for about a year in her room, but this girl's room is dark. The fan is always on full blast. you know, not the best home. So we grabbed this and put it in the houseplant rescue center, if you will. It's just like a small windowed area, but it's still its birthday nonetheless, so it does deserve a moment of appreciation and beauty. It's growing nice and strong. It doesn't need any special care, so we will just give it a moment in the limelight and then set it to the side. And next in this category of plants that don't need any really special care today is my Rhaphidophora Decursiva. I've had this plant for 1 full year, and this leaf was unfurling when I purchased it. Was it? Yeah. Or was it this one? I believe this leaf was unfurling when I purchased it. This leaf began to unfurl under my care, but this is the first really full leaf that it gave me in the spot that I had it in. So I can see this one, it was probably living on the afterburn of the special TLC and pampering that it received in the nursery. And then once it had a full cycle of growth with this leaf, I could tell like, oh, it's not as happy. It's probably not getting enough light. So what I did was I staked it. It was very rigid. So let's see if we can get it a little bit more vertical. It was very rigid, so I just did like an angle. I didn't want to push it, you know, past its boundaries and have it snap. But today we can see if it stakes up a little bit straighter, and then we'll just shower off the leaves. Here, I'll just unvelcro this. And then we'll just shower off the leaves and get it cleaned up for spring. This should be quick. Okay, so that's a lot more straight. We took it from, it was at like basically, I don't know, like I'm not a mathematician, but maybe like a 45-degree angle, and now it's at like an 80-degree angle. Like it's not perfectly 90 degrees, but you know, I don't want to push it too hard. It's not that important that it be perfectly straight. I'm just gonna add a little bit of tape to this top node. But look, in my, like the place that I had it, it had like 1, 2, 3, is that one? 1, 2, 3, 4 nodes that it was running before it developed a leaf. So it really did need more light. I think we can all be guilty of trying to push the boundaries of what kind of lighting we are giving our plants. But there we go. Now we'll just clean the leaves off a little bit. Next, we will move on to the 3 plants that we have that need a little bit more special attention. We are going to repot, prune, and clean the next 3, starting with my birthday plant. This year, my husband got me the vanilla Planifolia or Planifolia vanilla orchid, you guys. I know it's a little bit unrealistic, but it is like a genuine dream or goal to actually get this thing to produce vanilla beans. And I know that that's like a long-term goal. And in the end, I'll probably, you know, like I looked into it and like you have to go through all of these mechanisms like making sure that it gets colder in the winter and dehydrated in order to kind of prompt the blooming hormones. And then once they bloom, I can't remember, I think I'll have to pollinate it, like from flower to flower, I think. And then after if the pods do mature, if they do grow beans and if they do mature, then I think you have to ferment the pods. So it's like a project, you know, like a maybe 10-year project to learn how to get this thing to actually produce vanilla for me. And step one today is going to be repotting it, because right now I think the medium is just cocoa peat is what it feels like to me. We're gonna find out together, but that can't be right? That can't be right. And then I guess step 2 is going to be to make a home for it in my plant room. Like I'm going to need to put it like right next to the humidifier and like in a pretty bright spot. So that will be maybe the end of this month. We'll get it a proper home. But for today, first we'll look at how freaking beautiful and gorgeous this creamy variegation is. Very beautiful. Some of the leaves are a little bit imperfect, but like it doesn't look diseased. It doesn't look diseased, right? I mean, it has a couple of speckles on some of the leaves. So firstly, just appreciating its absolute beauty. We can talk a little bit about the structure of the plant too, if I back up. So we have a lot of vines and leaves here, but we have one main vine that comes out the center of the pot. It grows up. I've spent so long just looking at this whole plant. It grows up this side here, up, and then it branches off. Whoops, I'm out of view again. Okay, careful. Delicate girl. Okay. Oh my God, this should be the thumbnail. Okay. It branches off right here from the main stem, and it comes back down, and I have it taped with the plant Velcro taped back up, but the rest of the stem, it continues up and back down like this. And when it gets to about right here is its last leaf. Oh wait, actually, when it gets to right here, that's its last leaf going down. And then this vine curves down, and when it starts looping back up again, it gets another leaf. So when it returns to like the upward journey. So it has leaves all the way up, and then this stem is trimmed right here. Is this it? Nope. Where is it? Right here. This stem is trimmed right here. So it's one plant. It has one root system, but I think this is what you want. See this lateral branching vine? I think this type of vine is what will create vanilla flowers and then vanilla beans. So I forget how, but I do want to encourage, you know, branching. Anyways, I'm just a noob. I'm just a noob on the vanilla bean scene, but I am very excited, not only because it's a beautiful plant, but if any of you are watching who know me, like personally, I love a plant that makes food. Any type of plant that makes, you know, like a food for humans. So to make vanilla, that is luxe. That is the highlight of luxury if you're a plant. So let's actually begin the repotting process and see what the roots look like and give it some new material. Oh, and of course, I know not a lot of people watch these videos already, but if you're watching this and you happen to have some knowledge or resources or information to point us all toward for the care of any of the plants today, but you know, this is my new birthday baby. So any tips or knowledge about the vanilla bean journey, that would be 1,000,000 times appreciated. So if you know, let us know. Share the wealth. Okay. looking at the plant. This is the root base, and honestly, I'm not in love with how yellow that looks. And we had a few dead roots, but on the whole, the root system is pretty mediocre. Not a lot of root death, honestly, and a lot of these roots I can see, oh, what's going on here? And on a lot of the roots I can see new growth coming through. We had a few mushy bits that we had to remove. This one is very firm, like it looks black, but I think it's just maybe too much cocoa peat is like really stuck to it, but when I squish on it, it's firm. These roots are thinner than I expected. I don't know if this is common for the Planifolia. Let me get that right. Is it Planifolia or Planifolia? Oh, they didn't even put it on here. It's just an assorted vanilla orchid. Anyways, I'm not sure if the roots are supposed to be quite that thin, but on the whole, they're pretty mid looking. But not too bad, not the end of the world. I don't know, if I'm misjudging this, then please let me know. But we will pot it off. We're going to be using this pot. I think it's a pretty cute look for the vanilla orchid, and we're going to put it in a mix. This was the birthday candle for the thumbnail, and it was mostly just I was getting these materials ready, and then I thought, oh, that's kind of cute. But we are going to actually use these materials. We're going to mix it with leca, orchid bark, and sphagnum. So let me set this aside, and then we'll mix the mixture. Form the base of our mix, and then I'm gonna put the plants in and fill it back the rest of the way with my standard aeroid mix. This has cocoa peat, perlite, charcoal, and bark. So it is going to be a little bit water retentive near the upper area, but very well draining in the bottom. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry that was a little bit hard to see, but I will talk you through a little bit of the thought process here. Since the roots were a little thinner than I would expect, I thought I would go with slightly more water retention than I would normally expect with any other kind of orchid. And then also, since the mix that it had been potted in previously was a little bit more moisture retaining, I don't want to overwhelm the plant with too many changes right away. So keeping it kind of in a familiar territory if I can. And now that it's repotted, let's take it and give it a wash. This next plant is, it's kind of a sad spot for me because it is the, whoops, it is like the pride and joy of my life, and that is the Hoya Carnosa Compacta. I wanted this plant. This was like a wish list plant for me, starting right at the start of my houseplant kind of journey, I guess you could call it. But when I got serious about wanting to fill my home with plants, not just like, oh, I'll have a plant or two, but like, I love plants and I'm obsessed with them. This was the top, like on the top of my wish list almost right away. And it was a couple of years before I was actually able and willing to purchase it. So firstly, until I found a plant that was of good like price. And then secondly, like that I felt confident enough that I could care for it, because it's an investment. Like, you invest your heart and your soul and your money into it if you're, you know, if you're like a person who really loves plants. And so this was my pride and joy. It was growing so well all like spring and summer. And then in September, was it September? Yeah, it was in September. There was like a shift in the seasons, and where I was sitting this plant, I was usually letting it spend days and nights outside in the backyard. And then there was a shift to where the time of day, could this be a result of daylight savings? When is daylight savings? I don't know if I've been screwed over by the system, but there was a time of day where it just turned out that the afternoon sun became way more intense at a different time. So I wasn't like on the dot, like bring your plant in at this time, check on your plant at this time. So you guys, this whole vine right here was pretty much completely sun scorched. All these leaves are just, let me see if I can get you closer. All these leaves are just wrinkled, sun scorched, pruny. They're actually garbage, you know? Like, they're not gonna get better. I didn't cut it off because it's still green and it can probably still photosynthesize. But I think today we might cut these pieces off, which is kind of sad because that was one of its long vines. It's okay though. This plant, I was fortunate. I feel like some specimens of Hoya Carnosa Compacta, or is it just Hoya Compacta? I don't know, but maybe you guys know. But some specimens I've heard from people, they're like, oh, it's so slow growing. But for me, mine took off right away. So I think I'm fortunate to have a specimen that is like a vigorous grower. Just from handling it, these 3 leaves have already come down. So I think it will be fine. I know it will be fine. Plants grow. But for today, we're going to repot it, take off the damaged foliage, and give her a bath, and then she can start the growing season best foot forward, looking good. All right, so let's get to it. I'm not going to be taking off leaves just because they look ugly. I'm only going to be taking off leaves that are soft, wilty, leaves that are not serving the plant's health. You have to be careful with the stems too, because the stems themselves are kind of fragile. Like, they do get compacted and interwoven with one another. And then if you try too hard to bend it to like see what's under it, you can easily break it. It looks like a tough, rugged plant, but it is sensitive. It is fragile. I wanted to show you guys, I have a stem that's working on a peduncle. Oh, it's this one. Okay. So right here, and I don't know if this will come to maturity, but this stem is trying to grow a little peduncle out the side. So, you know, that's kind of neat. Okay, on to the next part, which is the potting. So it's been in this 6-inch pot, and today I'm gonna put it into here officially. Let's see what the root system might be looking like. It's very dry. I need to put it in this ceramic pot so that it can stay a little bit more moist. Okay. And I think I'm just gonna fill in this pot with my standard mix. So let's go give this a wash, and then we'll move on to the next plant. The final plant that we are giving a birthday glow up to is this gorgeous kangaroo paw fern, another plant that was almost immediately went onto my wish list, but another plant that in my region it was hard to, first of all, hard to find, so we weren't seeing them for sale, and then secondly, very expensive. So it took me a while before I was actually able to purchase this plant, and I bought this one for $20, and I feel like that was a good price. It has grown significantly since then. It has, I'll show you its paws or its feet. I don't know. It's growing out of the pot. And each of these branches has leaves growing off of them. So, I mean, it has grown a lot since then, but I felt like $20, I think it was like $22 or something like that. I felt like that was a fine price. Especially as I got, deeper and deeper, further and further into the houseplant type of hobby. It became one of those things where I'm not going to buy coffee from the drive-thru anymore so that I can, spend that money on plants instead. Or I'm not going to buy X, Y, or Z little trinkets because I would rather buy some fertilizer, something like that. So I felt like 20 was a pretty good price for this one. And it has had an okay time growing in my plant room. It was kind of getting a little bit low on the light side, which is okay, but I've had a little bit of a hard time with the humidity and being consistent in the watering, and I think a lot of that has to do with the medium that it's potted in, because when I potted it at first from the store, I put it in, I didn't want to disturb the root mass, so I pretty much just picked it up. It was a 6-inch pot, or it could have been a 4. It was a 6-inch pot. I picked it up out of its pot, and then inside this ceramic pot, I pretty much just filled a mixture of orchid bark and perlite and set the plant into that, and then filled around the sides with just whatever random potting soil was in my potting soil box. So the bottom of it is very well draining, which I know it likes, but I think this one, where it lives in my house, it needs a mix that's a little bit more water retaining. So that's what we're gonna give it today. I hope that when we pick it up, the roots look fine. But other than that, it has also had a couple of times where, I traveled for a week and it got too thirsty. So we lost some foliage, or you've seen my plant room. It's also my office and my guest room. So sometimes we'll have company staying over for a weekend or a few days. And so I'll turn off the humidifiers in there, and they're free to, use the ceiling fan. I'll open the air vent. So when it's just me in there, when it's just me and my plants, I have the air vents completely sealed. like they're closed, like the AC and the heater doesn't blow in my room. But we have, like, I have a couple of fans that I just circulate the air, but I'll open it. Like if we have guests, I'll open the vents. They can use the ceiling fan. So there were a few times, there were 3 times that I can think of where this plant like suffered significantly from like just a shocking change due to like having company over or going out of town. But other than that, it's very hardy and it keeps on growing and it is so freaking beautiful. Like this color green is gorgeous. Like sometimes I lay on the guest bed and I just like look up at it because it has these feet that creep down, and I'll just like look up at it and like just like take a moment and be like, I'm in a jungle. Nothing else matters. Am I okay? Am I unwell? Don't call the doctor. Anyways, let's get it potted. Okie dokie then. Let's see if it comes out. I kind of don't know where, I don't know where to put my hands. Oh no, I broke one. You guys, no. I broke this whole stem. I'm so sad because this was honestly one of my favorite stems. Oh, what's wrong with me? But see, these arms are so, they're so like kind of in the way. I was trying to lift it and it just fell off. It snapped off. I'm having a hard time showing it to you, but we got roots growing out the bottom of the pot. I broke it again. Where did it snap? I heard it snap. What the heck is wrong with me? Why am I the worst person? Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I just wanted to give you a makeover. Just wanted to make you feel better. You guys, this was so unwell. Like, we have lost a lot of roots just then. I'm disappointed in myself. Okay, that's okay. Also, the mix is mostly just like perlite and it looks like fine bark. Sorry, we're losing daylight. But it's pretty well moist. I don't know why the top of the plant has been drying out so much. But I think what I'll do is plant it lower and fill around on top. Maybe just bark and perlite will do the trick. Well, we'll find out. Okay. That was problematic. But let's go give it a shower. And you know, it is what it is. I will try to propagate. Oh, I'm so sad. I will try and propagate those, and I'll try to just get over it. All right, let's go take a bath. Completely clean up for today, we have this matter to deal with. So sad because I was so proud of these leaves. Each and every single one of them grew for me, not for the store. And these really cool branches crawling all around out of the pot. Okay, they'll grow back, so let's not be too sad about it, but we do have to save them. I mean, we could throw them in the trash, but I want to save them. I have this random like little vase pot that I thrifted. We have a little bit more sphagnum. It would be cool to prop in here, but I have actually plans for this vessel. So I will put them in here. It's not clear, so we won't really be able to see what's happening without pulling it out, but keeping it moist. And let's see, I'm not sure where it roots from. I think it roots from the whole stem. So we'll see if I can coil it like this. Oh, sorry, I'll do the camera. See if I can coil it like this. Coil, stick it in. And then we have this piece, which is more rigid. I'm just gonna stick it in. Like such. Okay. And then there's a little bit extra space. I'm gonna just stuff some extra moss in there. Let me look first, and then you can see. Okay. Okay. We'll see. It's full. All of the stems are covered. Where are you? And I'm just going to keep this evenly moist, well lit, and we'll hope for the best. Maybe if anybody else has propagated a kangaroo paw fern, maybe you can tell me and I'll feel better. Or maybe if it's a lost cause, you can tell me, and then I can prepare myself emotionally. But other than that, thank you guys all so much for celebrating March houseplant birthdays with me. If you have anything you have questions about, comments, etc., we can talk about it in the comments section down below. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching it. I like to do these every month. Before the YouTube days, this was just one of my favorite times to hang out with my plants, and it's a way to enjoy and appreciate plants without necessarily having to be purchasing, like every day, every week of the month. But anyways, it's just a fun tradition that I like, and it has been my true pleasure to share it with you. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.